And from Las Vegas, this is the Sports Adrenaline Show. The Raiders could bolt Oakland early after that city announced that it is filing an antitrust lawsuit against the NFL and the team. Could the Raiders wind up in Las Vegas now in 2019? Rebel football at home this Saturday against UTEP. UNLV a big 24-point favorite heading into that game. VGK, the players are starting to roll in, return to City National, and the rookies reported today the Golden Knights will start the season shorthanded as Nate Schmidt was slapped with a 20-game suspension. It's been a lucky roll for the Las Vegas Aces, and as for a third straight year, the team gets the top draft pick in the WNBA draft lottery. The Lights are just throwing money away, literally, this Saturday night. The Las Vegas 51s close out at Cashman Field. I'm Tony Cardasco along with Matt Gutierrez, John Castanino with the night off. And Haley Brooks is not here, but she has this pre-recorded message for everyone.
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be there this week to answer your comments. I'm sure Matt and Tony are doing a great job at that. But anyway, I want to make it up to everybody, so I have your chance to go see NASCAR playoffs in Las Vegas. That's right here. Next week, you're going to go. Just follow my instructions. Ready? Okay. First person to share this video as of right now, share this video and comment that you have shared it, and we're going to verify this. You are going to get yourself 4 tickets to the World of Westgate 200 Camping World Truck Series playoff race on Friday night. Sound good? Let me repeat. Share it, tell us that you shared it, and you're going to the race. All right, Xfinity Series. You want to go see Xfinity Series on Saturday? You have to get the most reactions in the comment section tonight, whether it be a heart, a smiley face, thumbs up, crying, whatever you got. If you get the most reactions, you're going to the DC Solar 300 on Saturday. Now, if you want to go to the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoff race on Sunday, the South Point 400, you want to go, you are going to have to listen to our radio show Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on CBS Sports Radio 1140 or on the radio.com app, and you're going to have yourself to win 2 tickets to that race. Ready? Go!
Hold on, I got to go make some comments real quick. I want to win some tickets.
I think she has the crying emoji right now, right? I thought the Eagles were losing at last report, so...
it was 3-0. They were driving. I don't know. It's the Eagles. I don't care.
Talking about emojis.
It's a bird game. Falcons, Eagles, whatever.
Get on board.
Sorry,
Haley. Comments not available tonight. They are an exclusive to our show, and she is watching exclusively the Eagles game.
Yes.
But she's a huge Eagle fan. Let's start off, Matt, with the Raider Nation. So this lawsuit's expected to be filed by the city of Oakland against the National Football League and the Raiders, and it could force the team. Now, we thought this all along, to leave Oakland after the conclusion of this season. So the Raiders have this year-to-year lease, as we've discussed, with the Oakland Coliseum, and we're expected to renew it, right? However, by Monday night's game against the Rams, we could see this lawsuit happening, and the Raiders could be moving forward at the end of the season and wind up somewhere in 2019. Now, Stan Boyd Stadium, right? That's one of the potential sites. There'd have to be a lot of money invested to fix it.
Yeah.
But I've had my sources who have told me San Diego's an option, San Antonio's an option, and the one that I like the most, that makes probably the least amount of sense, but the NFL wants to go international, Mexico City.
I can't get on board with Mexico City at all, or San Antonio for that matter, just logistically. I don't think that a team that's based in California is A, going to want to go out of country, so there's no way that's going to happen. B, go all the way to Texas. San Diego, I think, is a viable option. I've been firm that they'd be here in 2019 since, 2 years ago when we started talking about
2 years ago, we said that they would not last until
right. We said that after 2018,
yeah,
they were going to leave.
2019 season.
2019, they would not be in the Coliseum. Now, to come to Vegas, a lot of work has to be done. Sam Boyd's going to need serious renovations. What they're going to have to do is weigh out their options on where they're going to rent out a stadium, whether it's Qualcomm, whether it's Levi Stadium, whether it's going up to Cal and Berkeley, something along those lines, versus how much it's going to cost to put money into Sam Boyd to make it viable for the NFL.
Please don't go to Reno. Don't go to Reno.
No,
And remember, precisely 1 year ago, we had Jeff Motley from Las Vegas Motor Speedway on the show.
Yep.
And I asked him the question, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, is that an option?
Yeah.
Is that an option for the Raiders to play football? And Joe Politician, grandstanding away, oh, yeah, well, maybe we'll go to the Motor Speedway.
Well, I still think that's a long shot. You've been to that track. It put people in the stands and then put a 100-yard field out in the middle of that grass.
Yeah.
There's no way. You are not going to see
You're
anything.
So far away.
It's very different than being in Bristol, Tennessee, where they have the short track and they packed, 250,000 people in that stadium to watch a Tennessee Volunteers game. Much different. And even that was far away because you still have the track all the way around it. If you remember the LA Coliseum when they used to have the Olympic track around it, that still seemed far away. Now put a race car track around that on a 1.5-mile track.
They'd have to build bleachers and everything
Yeah,
else.
that would be a mess.
And
I think that's a reach.
As I told you guys, because I'm such a big raver.
You guys, it's only me here, man.
Okay, as I've said before on this program with the guys and Miss Haley, I have said that, I go to EDC, and that stage is 100 yards long. And that's one big stage, right? And yes, you could see the stage from down on the infield.
But yeah, that's people on the infield. That's not people sitting in the
Correct.
grandstands. There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
That's far. That's a distance if you're going to put something on the infield. I still think Sam Boyd is viable, but again, it's going to depend on how much are they going to spend leasing out a stadium versus how much are they going to spend renovating Sam Boyd. Plus, you have to think about facilities. They've got to have offices, which they have the temporary ticket offices and things here, but they don't have fully functional day-to-day operations going on here, or practice facilities.
Or the locker rooms, but in Mexico City, they did put up the prefab.
They did the temporary,
the temporary locker rooms, which we found out about, when we did all of our research. But do the Raiders want to create more madness in Vegas? I don't think so. I personally say they're going to save the fanfare for last. I mean, on top of everything else that's going on with the organization, they really need some sort of cookie-cutter approach, because they're building here a stadium, they're building a practice facility, they might be building north of here in Reno, with their preseason camp up there. That's too much going on.
Well, the problem
that's a lot going
is
on.
they may not have an option. San Diego may or may not be an option. We're speculating here. We don't know for sure whether or not they're going to be able to go down there. Again, I don't think San Antonio or Mexico City are viable. I always thought
why not
Cal.
San Antonio?
I just think logistically, I mean,
Why?
that's that many more miles that team's going to travel.
They almost moved there initially.
But they're not. They're not going to move there. Why would you move into the Texans
You're
and the
one
Cowboys?
that's telling me how global the Raider Nation is.
It doesn't matter. Okay. There are two teams that would have worked, in my opinion, in this city. One of them was the Raiders. The other is the Cowboys. Reason being, those teams travel maybe better than any other team out there. Pittsburgh travels really well, but that's an East Coast team. If you try to move the Raiders into Dallas Cowboy territory, I think you just make a mess of things. I still think Cal would have been a great option. I think going up to Berkeley, but it sounds like now both Cal and Levi Stadium, those could be out the door just because there's so much animosity now being created between the Bay Area and the Raiders. Maybe it's better for them if they just get out of Dodge and go play somewhere else.
New sponsors on our program on the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show, both here on Facebook Live and on the radio every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. We are brought to you by The Pint on Charleston and Wallapai, and also by Michael Westra, Allstate Insurance, 702-435-4211. What do you have there, Bad Beat?
I have the Bad Beat Brewing. This is Happy Times IPA.
Oh, nice.
This is a fantastic IPA. Not overly hoppy, nice floral
wait.
notes.
You have two Bad Beat
Well, we have the
beers.
Bad Beat Brewing. This is the Bluffing Isn't Weiss, Hefeweizen, for the Germans out there. Weiss.
Of course, and
Bluffing
that is
isn't
produced by our friends.
Very light, nice
the Pint.
citrus, hoppy floral tones coming out of this one. Good beers, man. Really good
Hey,
beers.
and you're a big Raider fan, and the
I am.
Pint has all of the Raiders games, not only live, but with the sound on.
Yeah.
How many times you
gotta
go
have
into a
sound.
bar where there's no sound
Yeah.
on the game? Hey, what's going on?
Well, this is a Raider town now. I mean, I think you can't deny that fact. This is a Raider town. You're going to have Raider bars. Pint, really cool. Rebels branded into the wood there, VGK branded into the wood, the Raiders branded into the wood.
Sports Adrenaline not branded into
Not
the wood.
yet. We're getting there.
Yet.
We're getting there. We got the logo going.
So we know, just from our conversations with folks from Oakland, from within the organization and what have you, that the Raiders really want out of Oakland as soon as possible, right?
It's getting ugly. I mean, that's the thing.
But they wanted to all along. 2 years. 2 years. If you go back, if you play our show from 2 years ago, you're going to hear the same sort of messaging because we've been told all along that they would not last until the start of the 2019 season. And the fact that they wanted to get kicked out, basically, out of Oakland rather than leave on their own. And now, essentially, they're getting kicked out. We discussed this before. They did not want this PR nightmare. And they really do adore the fans in Oakland. It's not about the fans in Oakland.
There's only so long that they could walk that line, and they've done a really good job of doing that, where they've been gracious in keeping the Oakland fans engaged and keeping the city of Oakland part of the team, as well as bringing in the new fan base and ingratiating Las Vegas and doing things in this community, going back and forth, trying to play both sides. But now you're getting to the point, the season's starting. People are really upset about the Mac deal. They know that they're leaving. It's just, there's a lot of bad blood. There's a lot of animosity, and I think it's just getting to the point now where it's time to leave. And like you said, Tony, we've been saying for 2 years we didn't think they were going to be there in 2019.
Yeah.
And now it looks like it's becoming much more of a reality.
So we're going to get a board for our radio show, right, where we put our predictions up there.
Yes.
And our sources, and we're going to have that up by this weekend.
We are.
Because I have more scoops. I've got more scoops.
All right, whiteboard's coming. It'll be there Saturday morning.
Okay. Did we get any winners? Anyone share this so they win the NASCAR tickets? We'll check on that. I also want to talk about the Raiders parking plan. It was approved by the county. The 4 off-site proposed parking venues now proposed. They span as far south as Blue Diamond Road. And then, of course, you have the Orleans and a couple of other sites there. The Raiders said that they would continue to work on this plan probably up until the time of the very first kickoff. And like I said, on our show, I said, if you were to ask me to grade this, to grade the proposed parking plan, incomplete. We knew more was coming.
Right. And it's funny because how long have we been saying Bally High, Bally High, Bally High? And they came out and admitted that, yes, we've been working on the Bally High site for 7-8 months now. And because of all the legal issues going on there, just the litigation problems with that site, it was never able to become a reality. But that was, and probably still is, the most logical option, probably the best option, because you do have this large concentration of parking spaces available there if you were to do that. But I mean, the plan now, I think, lacks engagement, if that makes sense. It lacks a fan engagement atmosphere. What they're going to have to do is figure out a way for all of those warehouses, all that industrial area, they're going to have to take that over and commercialize it. That area is going to have to become very commercial so that game day becomes a lot like, I've been to Seattle for a game. I went there a couple of years ago for a game.
I've been there.
And it's not like there's parking around there. You're not going to some huge parking lot. But the train comes in and drops you off. There's bars and restaurants and things everywhere around those two stadiums. And you're just kind of milling around, hanging out in that area. Gaslamp Quarter with Petco Park, same idea. Yeah. That's what you're going to want to do around the Raiders Stadium.
Well, they're going to
is commercialize all that area.
Well, they are going to create some sort of a bar row or something to that effect. We had Phil Klavoric from the county on last week on our show, and he was. I told him, why don't we just mow down all of those, just bulldoze all of those warehouses? And he said, we can't quite just do that.
Not yet.
It's not that simple.
Not yet. But I think that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, don't tell anyone from the county that's what you want to do.
Buy those out.
He said, did you get a
get them out of the way?
That's what he asked me first and foremost.
Buy them out, get them out of the way, commercialize that whole area. Eventually, that's going to happen anyways. That will be the end result. You see it with stadiums all over the place. I keep going back to Petco because the Gaslamp Quarter, once upon a time, was not an area you wanted to hang out in.
Right.
Wasn't a nice area. Wasn't great. Wasn't a lot to do down there that was, on the up and up. And now it's phenomenal. You go down there a few hours before a Padres game.
Oh, it's great.
Just hang out down there. You can go eat, go to bars. After the game, you come out. Everything's open. That's what you want. And there's no more Vegas-y nightlife thing in the world than coming out of a game and just hanging out in that area like we do at VGK games.
And we'll be talking more about this proposed parking plan, which was now approved. It's the approved parking plan. Plus
Step
much
one.
more.
It's step one.
It's step one, but we have Larry Brown, the county commissioner, who also is the head of the Regional Transportation Commission. He's coming on our radio show on Saturday morning. Tune in. He'll be on the air in the 9 o'clock hour.
Should have some good insight.
Yeah, so he'll tell us what's going on with parking, what his vision is. And then also, hey, we want to talk about, right, the expansion of the monorail and other forms of transportation that people are going to be taking to go to the new Raiders Stadium. New Las Vegas Stadium.
Las Vegas Stadium. Don't you get in trouble when you say Raiders Stadium, Tony?
I always get.
I've heard people yell at you for that.
I get in a lot of trouble. So Amari Cooper today says that the pressure might be on the Raiders to score now every time that they have the ball in the absence of Khalil Mack. So internally, Matt, you've got big problems because the players are unsure that they're going to be able to survive without Khalil Mack. There's a lot of uncertainty when there shouldn't be at this stage, right before the start of the season. And Paul Gunther today came out. He said, hey, if you were to have kept Mack, the Raiders would have to lose 7 other players later on.
Right.
And Peter King also pointed out that the salary cap on the other side of the coin is rising by $10 million every year now, and he believed that they could still have kept both Derek Carr and Khalil Mack because they only comprised 21% of the overall salary. But with all that in mind, I'm just really concerned about the Raiders heading into kickoff because of the way that it just really affected the entire team. Hey, this is a business move, right? Get rid of Mack.
Right.
But now what
But
about
here's
the
the thing.
emotional side?
A lot of that is initial shock. You saw Bruce Irvin's tweet.
Did I ever?
Yeah, he dropped
We
the
can't
F-bomb.
repeat it, yeah.
Pretty upset about it. But the next morning he goes, you know what? All right, it's done. It's over. Move on. Time to go beat the Rams. And that's the mindset that this team has now. Derek Carr said the same thing. Yeah, I lost my brother. I lost my buddy. It's my best friend. He's going to go play somewhere else, and I don't get to see him every day. But our goal as a team is to go out and beat the Rams. And that's what they have to do. I saw some really interesting numbers come out. I think it was yesterday. Somebody tweeted it out. The Raiders' defense with Khalil Mack didn't finish better than, I think, 25th at any point over the last 4 years. 25th. I mean, there's only 32 teams in the NFL.
Right.
This is a bottom third defense every year. Now, that's not to take anything away from Khalil Mack. He is the best defensive player in the NFL, in my opinion. He's an all-pro at multiple positions. The guy is unblockable. He's unbelievable. But this team couldn't do anything on the whole as a defense with Khalil Mack there. Their whole thought process behind this is it doesn't seem like Mack wants to play here anymore. All he wants to do is get paid. At least that's on the surface, that's what it looked like. He wants the humongous payday. And we need to fill more than just one hole. We need to fill multiple holes on this defense. We have a new defensive coordinator in, a brand new system. We've got these young kids coming in with Hurst and Hall and Key. This is the future of this team. Let's try to build from there and see what we can do. Now, would they be better with Khalil Mack defensively? Of course. Would Khalil Mack cripple this team as far as money is concerned? Most likely.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about $50 million between him and
even
Carr.
21%.
You're going to have to pay Cooper to keep him next year.
Yeah,
and
what
you
is he
see
gonna
what
go
the
for?
wide
How much-
receiver numbers are nowadays.
Yeah,
They're
what is
getting
he
out
gonna
of
go
control.
for? I know.
I mean, how do you
You're gonna
retain
have
Cooper?
You're going to have $220 million.
Well, how do you retain Cooper at less than $15 million a season?
Well, you hope
And
that he
that's
you hope that he
low.
drops a lot of balls this year, so his value goes down.
Yeah, but that's lowballing at $15 million a year, right? I
Right.
mean, that's what we're looking at now. So they're going to have to negotiate with Cooper going into next season as well. There's just no way that they could keep all of these guys on the roster.
I don't think that it was coach speak, but Sean McVay today, the Raiders play the Rams, kickoff on Monday Night Football, and Bruce Irvin is the number one concern now for the Rams on the pass rush, and I think Irvin has more freedom now to really turn it up.
Irvin's got to be the guy. I mean, he's back at his natural position. He's back getting after the quarterback, that defensive end spot. He's in an aggressive style defense now, which he was in Seattle, and he flourished. You've got the young kid, Arden Key, coming in behind him. You've got Hurst and Hall that are going to finally create pressure up the middle. We saw them do it all preseason. They graded out really well. These two kids get after the ball up the middle, and if you can collapse that pocket and these guys are stepping up, quarterback has nowhere to go. That's going to make a huge difference. But this is Bruce Irvin's defense now. He's the leader of that defense. He's always been the vocal leader. Mack was the leader on the field, and he'd rally the guys in the huddle. But Mac is, if you've ever seen him in an interview, he's not a very vocal guy. He's not one to get up in front of people and just talk.
Right.
Irvin will get out there and talk. Probably learned a lot of that from Richard Sherman up in Seattle. That's how they did it up there. But I think this is his team now defensively, and he's going to have to step up and be the leader.
Yeah, you also have Tank Carradine and Fatal Brown, who both really impressed.
Yeah,
and
Carradine especially, he looked really good.
They would keep just one of those two, and they wound up keeping them both.
They knew Mac was leaving. They knew Mac was leaving. They need the depth. Yeah,
but their defensive line is not as bad. I think it might be improved. I really do.
Defensive line is absolutely improved overall.
Yeah.
Still, it would have been nice to have Mac on the outside.
Right.
My biggest problem with Mac being traded is the return. You get 2 first-round picks. You get a 3rd-round pick and a 6th-round pick.
2020, yeah.
But you give up Mac and a 2nd-round pick, which that bothers me a lot. Why give up a pick when you're already giving up the best defensive player in the league? And the 2 first-round picks, who knows where they could be? The Bears could be marginally improved this year. They could finish middle of the pack. They could finish towards the top, and then what? You're getting a mid-20s draft pick for next year and the following season? I mean, it's just such a – you just don't know what you're going to get out of it.
The overall Raiders roster, what do we make of it? I mean, they kept 5 running backs, right? I think they kept 5. And how does Johnny Holton make it to the cut of 53, and then a couple days later he's gone?
They keep 5?
I think they kept 5.
You got Richard, Washington, Martin, and Lynch.
There's one more.
Warren's on the IR.
No, there's one more. I think there's 5. Look it up. We'll look it up.
I don't know who the 5th is.
That's okay. We can look that up here.
We'll look it up.
I think they kept 5, if I'm not mistaken. The kicking game, I don't know what to make of that. Mike Nugent on placements. Johnny Townsend might not be as good as Marquette King.
Well,
Eddie Piñeiro's out for the season. That's a big blow.
I don't out for the season is that's too bad because he was supposed to be the next big thing in the kicking game. We knew we weren't going to get Marquette King's leg in there, but that's not what the problem was. Marquette King had an attitude problem, I guess you could say. Your punter's out there getting 15-yard personal fouls for being a knucklehead. That's not what you want out of your punter. And we've talked about the difference in league average versus the top guys. You're looking at a few yards difference. It's not like the best kickers are kicking 75 yards per kick and the worst are kicking 35 yards. It's marginal. So I don't know that that's going to be that big a deal, but the field goal and extra point game could be an issue.
And Ndamukong Suh, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, Brandon Cooks. I mean, you look at the Rams and for Monday night, man, they've really improved themselves. One thing that really concerns me is the fact that no one played in preseason. Todd Gurley did not even have one tote in preseason. And I know people say, well, that might be overrated, but I still want to get some sort of rhythm and cadence against outside
But that's true of the entire league. You can say that, we need rhythm, we need cadence, but you're not going against a team that has all of those things. Nobody did that this season. Carr took a handful of snaps. He played, 2 series in the entire preseason? Marshawn Lynch had 1 or 2 carries. Nobody has any rhythm. Nobody has any cadence. Nobody in the NFL was willing to put their starters out there to do anything. So I think everybody is on a level playing field. I don't know that anybody has an advantage over anybody else when it comes to being more prepared for the start of the season.
It's going to be Jon Gruden's first game back on the sidelines. I'm just wondering, man, so let's say that lawsuit gets filed like it's supposed to before kickoff time on Monday night. You got Gruden on the sidelines. You have fans now. A lot of them are still perturbed, and I still read all their social media posts. They're down on Gruden right now. I don't think they will be overall.
Fans at the stadium are not going to care.
What is this going to be
Fans
like
on social media.
Have you seen this much turmoil
No,
heading into a
it's
season
not going to
for the
matter.
Raiders? Have you?
Are you kidding me? This team hasn't won in 20 years. Yes, it's been turmoil. They rehired Art Shell in 2006.
Right, but I can't remember a time
there has been
when
plenty
things were so turbulent.
of turmoil over the last 2 decades.
So on Saturday, you were down in Southern Cal, and John was gone as well at the Rebel game. And, I was just talking about how, I just felt that, like Jon Gruden, I've been told from inside as well, that right now he does not have the locker room. He doesn't have the locker room. And because he created that culture of competition, right? He just doesn't have the locker room. He can't have these players believe in him. And that's not a good thing right now.
We'll see. He hasn't coached a single game yet in his return. I mean, this is all generated from preseason, from a Mac trade,
Right.
from guys being jettisoned off the team that people thought would be there no matter what. This is him coming in and establishing himself as the head coach of this team. And guys are either on board or they're not. Derek Carr is on board. He's the leader of that team. Bruce Irvin is on board. He's the leader of that defense. The guys that matter are going to be on board. Marshawn Lynch is on board. Everybody else is going to have to fall in line. And if you're not going to fall in line, we already know what's going to happen. He's going to ship you out. I mean, that's just the way it is. Again, you haven't played a single game yet. And don't judge it by the Rams game because they're going to get beat by the Rams. The Rams are a good team. The Rams are an established team. They've upgraded their defense, and they're going to come in and they're going to roll the Raiders in Oakland. Funny stat. I saw this tweeted out. Home teams, since they started the doubleheaders on Monday night, are 6-6. 6-6 home teams on Monday Night Football doubleheaders opening night. The Raiders are responsible for 5 of those losses. 4, they lost at home. 1, they won on the road in Denver. 5 of the 6 home losses on Monday night, the Raiders games are responsible for. Count on another one this week.
You know, the Pint, one of our sponsors, will have the audio on for the Raider game come Monday night. It's one of our new sponsors. But this is one occasion where I'd much rather go with no sound. Joe Tessitore is calling the game.
Man,
Joe Tess.
that's your boy. Hey, you can't escape him.
Dude, he's never
everywhere.
This will be the very first time he's called an NFL game.
He sounds like he's never called boxing either, but he keeps doing that.
Hey, we're going to step aside here. We have these words coming up from, again, one of our good sponsors, the Pint.
Drink, dine, and play at the Pint during the pro football season. Join us all day Sunday plus Monday and Thursday nights as we serve up the best specials on the west side. $2 all-beef hot dogs, $3 beers from locally made Bad Beat Brewing, $15 buckets of Bud Light, and sound for every Raider game. Our carefully crafted menu and loose slots create a locals atmosphere you'll love, plus awesome parties during every Golden Knights game. The Pint, located at 9941 West Charleston near Wallapai. The Pint, your premier neighborhood bar.
Pint, let's go.
Premier neighborhood bar.
Let's have another one.
Yeah, we thank them so much for their sponsorship. And coming up, as we mentioned on Saturday's show on CBS Sports Radio, 11:40 a.m., a couple of guests, Larry Brown, the county commissioner, Nate Jacobson, the starting right tackle for UNLV football, who he was quick to point out has only allowed in his 3+ years of playing 4 sacks. In 2016, did not give up a sack. And I watched in slow motion the Lexington Thomas 71-yard touchdown run. Where did he run? Around the right side. Who had the seal block? Nate Jacobson. He turned his man inside. I mean, and a big play.
Man, nice little segue into UNLV, by the way.
Is that where we're going?
Why not? That was
Do we
fun.
have any winners, by the way?
That was fun. I don't know.
Haley?
That's Haley's job.
All
I'm
right,
not paying
Haley's
attention
handling
to that.
social
That's
media
Haley's
today.
job. That was fun. It was down. I took my son to LA. We went to the USC game. That was a good time, man. At no point did I expect the Rebels to win. We talked about it leading up. I'm still not sold on this team. I think defensively they're much better. They played better through the first 3 quarters. I still think USC was a little tentative, maybe afraid to let their freshman quarterback really get going. Once they really wanted to, they kind of took whatever they wanted from the Rebels. A lot of that has to do with the depth, obviously, wearing a team down late in the game. But the Rebels offensively are going to struggle. It is run, and hope Armani can complete 1 or 2 passes. He is not getting it done as a quarterback. Again, only 12 completions in this game for 98 yards. That's not going to get it done.
Will he hit the magical number 14 completions?
I don't know. I mean, we're a season plus in now, and he has yet to complete 14 passes in a single game.
But he had some drops. You know, he had a couple of drops.
He had a couple bad throws too. So
he had that nice back shoulder
those wash.
pass to Kendall Keys that bounced off of his shoulder pads. I thought he did some things that showed a little bit of maturation, as far as he didn't really lose his poise, he didn't lose his control, and a couple times you ran out of bounds rather than taking an additional hit.
Yes, which was nice to see.
I think he's really grown up. Now,
I want to see him grow as a passer.
Okay,
though. That's what he needs to do.
Here, in my estimation, you don't need to pass the ball if your run game is working, where you rushed for over 300 yards against number 15 ranked USC.
What did I say
Just
2
keep
weeks
running,
ago
running,
about
running,
this
then grind
offense?
it out.
What did I say 2 weeks ago about this offense? This offense was not going to have the ability to sustain drives. They are a home run offense or they're nothing at all. And that's what we saw from them again. You had the 71-yarder from Lex. You had the fake punt. Great call, by the way, Tony Sanchez.
Yep.
Great call, fake punt.
Evan
and
Austrie
then the big
with the fake
pass
punt. Yep.
that got the touchdown.
Kendall
And
Keys.
that's pretty much it. Other than that, you'd have a couple first downs, if any, and then you'd punt the ball. Couple first downs, punt the ball. 3 and out, punt the ball. That's what this offense is. If they don't hit home runs, if they get into a situation in a game, especially later in the year when you play in cold weather spots, and you have to sustain drives, I don't think this team can do it. We haven't seen them do it in two years now, season plus. We haven't seen them be able to sustain drives.
One part of the game that disappointed me, the kicking game. So Hayes Hicken, I watch him just about every day, and he's got amazing hang time, and every punt was pretty much a line drive. And Coach Sanchez, when I went to his press conference on Monday and then talked to him a little bit after practice on Wednesday, Coach was just a little bit, he was perturbed that the kicking game wasn't good because they have experience. And then Hicken just kicking, like I haven't seen, a player with that kind of hang time in a long time around UNLV. And not one punt was good hang time. Not one punt. The placements of the punts were not good.
No,
Coach
he was
Sanchez
allowing USC
was
to
so
return
upset.
those kicks.
Absolutely.
And that kid returning the ball was
I know.
one step and gone.
One step away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they were
They're fast.
you could see the difference
Right.
in talent on the field.
Right.
But I will give UNLV credit. They took a 7-6 lead. They took a 12 lead, I believe.
Yeah.
They were in the game for 3 quarters,
Yeah.
and it made it fun. As a fan going to the game, sitting up there with my son, being able to just cheer for the team, wearing our Rebel Red, it was fun to be in the game for that long in that kind of environment. Good crowd at the Coliseum, obviously not sold out. First game of the year against a Mountain West opponent, not a big rival game or anything like that. But it was still a really good crowd, despite all the construction going on with the press box and all of that. But UNLV showed out. They came out and they played well, and they did enough to establish themselves as possibly being a contender in the conference. Again, they're going to have to get better offensively at sustaining drives. You cannot count on Lexington Thomas breaking 80-plus yarders every single week.
My prediction, Lex Thomas, more yardage, less carries. Someone called me up last week and said that there was something in a local newspaper that had a prediction, Lexington Thomas, more yardage, less carries.
They're always watching you, Tony.
What's going on here?
They're watching you, man.
We need the board, and we need to put it in
That's why
permanent
they get
ink.
mad about your big picks for the year.
Well, come on, it's frustrating
Salty.
because, no, it's
The
frustrating.
board's coming. The board will be there
Okay,
Saturday
but it's
morning.
frustrating because we have all the news first. They don't credit us, and they just take stuff from us.
They do.
They just take it. Take it away. UNLV's defense appeared to be better. They only had some players in the game, right? Jameer Outsey, we talked to him, said 60, 70 snaps. Coach Sanchez, after the game, he told us 40 to 50 snaps was pretty much the high. And so Tim Skipper, the new defensive coordinator, very cognizant. They're charting plays, and they're shuttling in players. And so they're putting some fresh bodies now out on the field. They did wear down at the start of the fourth quarter. I was like, at the end of 3, that third quarter was phenomenal. To me, the best part of watching that game was that there was a game.
Exactly.
There was strategy,
Exactly.
and there was plays, and there were playmakers, and there was defense, and it was a game. It wasn't like, oh wow, we're down by 3 touchdowns. How many are we going to lose by right here?
I didn't think that at any point after maybe the first minute of the game I would hear Rebels chants coming from the stands. And we heard Rebels chants into the third quarter, and it was great. It was great to see. What you saw on defense that I liked, they swarmed to the ball. You saw multiple guys around every single ball carrier, every single receiver. Everybody swarms to the ball. Group gang tackling is what you saw, which is great. Secondary struggled. They struggled. They let guys get free, and that's an issue. When you have guys running free in the secondary, you're going to give up the big plays, which is what they did. They need to be a little tighter in their coverage out there. A lot of that stems from the D-line being able to get to the quarterback.
Oh, man.
You got to get to the quarterback. But you're playing – that's a very experienced offensive line at USC. Combined 68 starts from that offensive line. So you were going against a legit O-line from a Power 5 conference. So we'll give them a pass there. They're going to go against lesser competition as the season goes on. But they need to step their game up. They can't step down and play down to their competition, which we saw them do a lot last year.
Do you know what was really good to see? We were speaking to Khalili the week before. The two cornerbacks, I thought, except, Flowers got beat on a slant, but he had no help over the top, right?
Right. Safety struggle.
Those two cornerbacks are playing on an island, and I thought they were the two top tacklers, I think, in the game, and they could not have really played better. The way that I felt that they graded out very well. They had some great coverages.
Yeah,
really
when you're stuck on an island, there's only so much you can do. You need help.
They just really
need help.
They just played out.
And again, the defensive line's got to help them out too. If you're going to be one-on-one on the outside, you've got to disrupt that timing. You got to bump him at the line of scrimmage and hope that your defensive line can get to that quarterback and get him out of his rhythm so that ball doesn't come out on time.
Yeah, Dalton Baker wasn't over the top.
No.
And I think that this is part of this new defense. There were a couple times when I'm watching a replay and there's just blown assignments. We kind of guessed, going into this season that with Tim Skipper's defense, it's aggressive and he gambles. And you're going to get gashed once in a while.
Yeah.
I think they're prepared for that, right?
Yeah.
They just don't want to do that repeatedly, and hopefully they can come up with some big plays, right? But, Nate Jacobson, though, on the offensive side, he said, man, we thought that USC defense would be a lot more aggressive. He said, I was surprised because we were able to really handle them. And they didn't play that 2-4-5 defense very often in the game. But when they did, they were able to, get to that second level like I figured they might be able to do. But he said USC was not as aggressive.
I think what you're going to see as the season goes on is you're going to see teams more or less dare Armani Rogers to throw the ball.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to see. Teams, once they start scouting this team a little bit more, you're going to see teams really pack the box. You're going to have 8, 9, even 10 in the box sometimes trying to stop the run because that's basically what this team does well is run the ball. You're going to force Armani Rogers to beat you with his arm. And as of right now, I don't see Armani Rogers being able to do that. He needs to take marginal steps forward, getting better in the passing game.
Yeah. As long as he can keep his poise, I think he'll improve. I really do. As long as he could run out of bounds rather than running into a defender all the time with his shoulder down. He did it once. He fell short of a first down, but he had, some pretty good runs. I think he's, on those RPOs, I think he is looking to run more than pass.
Yeah. Well, that's
his call. That's
been the problem. And can we talk about, and John said it, the most rebel thing in the world for this team to do? Fumble on the first play of the game. I mean, come on, guys. First play.
Lex shook it off, and the defense stiffened.
They did.
And that was a big difference.
Yeah.
Before, it'd be like, woe is me, and back to, that was an easy 7. I would have guessed before.
I thought so, yeah, without a doubt.
I would have guessed before.
As soon as they turned the ball over, I went, here we go.
It's like, here we go.
Yeah.
Back at it again.
They stepped up. They definitely
and
stepped
Coach
up.
Sanchez, he said, I hope people don't get negative on this team just yet.
Yeah.
He said, just, let's help this team grow. He thought that it was a good foundation. He said that he told his coaches to play the game to win, not to play close. Play to win. Yeah. And he told the team that because,
11 moral victories get you fired.
Yeah,
Nobody cares about moral
victories.
Exactly
right.
I mean, it was fun. Yeah, it was a great time. We didn't expect them to win. They stayed in the game for 3 quarters, but ultimately that doesn't do anything for you. As a fan, it gives you something to cheer about for a little while, but you're there to see a win. That's what you want is a victory.
So Saturday, UTEP comes calling. Dana Dimmel is the former Wyoming coach. He's a good coach from what I recall because he was part of that Wyoming team up there and owns a 2-1 record against UNLV. UTEP won the last meeting. Boy, it's just these years are just peeling off, folks. 41-24 in the Sun Bowl in 1992. I call that game too.
92. Man, you've been around forever. Tommy.
I've been around for a minute. The quarterback is Kai Loxley. He concerns me. He's a junior, can maneuver. He's a guy that can beat you with his feet and his arm. So they had a platoon system heading into the Northern Arizona game. This is a team that hasn't won since late in 2016. So, it's a game that the Rebels have to win. We mentioned from the top, 24-point favorites. And so Ryan Metz and Loxley were battling it out. And before the end of the game, it was Loxley. And now Dimmel today named Loxley as the starting quarterback. They have a patchwork offensive line. They lost 2 starters in camp. The defense for UNLV really needs to tee off. Loxley, a real interesting story. I want to get back to him for a moment. He started at the University of Texas. Charlie Strong, I think, was there. They converted him to a wide receiver. He never played it down there. He went to JUCO. He played at Iowa Western. last year he was the Junior College Offensive Player of the Year as a QB, and his dad is Alabama's offensive coordinator. So
the worst thing that could have happened to UNLV is Northern Arizona beating UTEP, in my opinion, because you're probably going to get UTEP's best effort coming into this game. Embarrassed by losing to Northern Arizona,
right.
Going up against a team that showed well
and they
at
lost,
the Coliseum.
They lost at home. UTEP lost at home.
Right. Showed well at the Coliseum, so you've got that to kind of, give you a little extra motivation. I think UTEP's going to come out and give UNLV everything they can. I think 24 points is a bit of a reach. Mm-hmm. Not that UNLV can't do it, but we saw last year with Howard. Let's not start crowning UNLV as multiple touchdown favorites before they can actually win a game by multiple touchdowns.
Yeah, and the Miners defense gave up 318 yards against Northern Arizona, but one of those plays was an 84-yard touchdown play. So they really played pretty well. They've got a good linebacking core led by A.J. Hotchkins, who was an Oregon transfer. And the Rebels, like you said, there's no gimmies. And Dana Dimmel wants to come in here to win, and he wants to prove that, he's a good coach, that this program is improved over a season ago where they went winless, and that they're a better team than they showed in the opener.
And I think that's what we're going to see. As far as UNLV is concerned, you have to go out and hammer this team. I mean, plain and simple.
If you're UTEP, you look on your schedule. Northern Arizona surely didn't scare them, right?
No, not at all.
But they didn't execute, and now they're settled on a quarterback who actually could help them to move the ball in the game, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a dual threat, and then they look at UNLV on the schedule. I'm sure that UNLV doesn't scare them, right?
Well, that's the thing is because they showed well at USC, that's going to motivate them that much more. Being embarrassed by NAU and then seeing UNLV go to the Coliseum and play well and say, this team can compete with USC for 3 quarters, I think that motivates them a little more. Mm-hmm. They're going to come out, again, you're going to get their best effort. UNLV has to be ready for it. We saw them too many times last year play well against good teams and then against lesser opponents, just crap the bed, basically. I mean, just come out, be completely flat, turn the ball over, no rhythm, no execution whatsoever. They have to be better than that. How does that team go to Fresno and win and come home and lose to Reno or BYU? That's the kind of effort you got out of UNLV last season. Very uneven. They have to correct that this year.
2 must-win games coming up here. Back-to-back, UTEP, Prairie View.
Yeah.
Back-to-back games.
You have to be 2-1.
And that Arkansas State team, they play at Alabama this weekend. Mm-hmm. So, and then they go to Tulsa. And so they could get a little softened up by Alabama. They lost one of their top receivers, Arkansas State. So that game, which originally looked like very much the part of Arkansas State being a preseason like 8.5-point favorite, to now they're starting to come back down to earth, perhaps. They're still going to be dangerous. A big 3-game stretch in the non-conference season for UNLV. They got to take it one game at a time.
We predicted 2-2, right?
We predicted 2-2.
2-2. We'll see. Yeah. We need it. Minimum.
Losing to Arkansas State would not be a sin. They lose to UTEP.
They're in trouble.
Not so good.
It's Howard all over.
And Prairie View is going to be one of the most exciting games I think you'll see out there, with a lot of passing and a wide open offensive attack on both ends. That's good. I think each team could score 30-plus points in that contest. Kickoff time, I should mention, on Saturday will be at 6 p.m. at Sam Boyd.
Yep.
So it's an earlier kickoff time. And all the season ticket holders get a pennant, which commemorates the 50th anniversary of Rebel football, the first team back in 1968. I wasn't there.
I didn't
call their game.
You were there.
I did not call their game.
Hey, I heard we had a pennant in the radio studio now.
Someone took a picture and posted it.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
Yeah, I told them I would. That's how I got one for free.
Good. It's awesome.
I always take free stuff.
Yeah, shock.
When we return, we're going to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. But first, I want to hear from one of our new sponsors. That's Michael Westra from Allstate Insurance. Call 702-435-4211.
In life, just like in football, you need good hands to score. The Michael Westra Allstate Agency will carry you to success for every insurance need. Auto, business, home, life. Michael will personally see you get the best rates, and our full-service staff at 702-435-4211 will walk you through any claim, not refer you to an 800 number. For over 15 years, Michael has served charities in Las Vegas. He's ready to serve you at 702-435-4211, 702-435-4211.
Thank you so much for our good friend, Michael Westra, big sports fan.
Yeah. We had a blast with him.
Yeah.
A lot of college football talk.
Yep. Give him a shout. Good guy. Jersey guy. Good guy. Jersey guy.
Of course he's a Jersey guy.
Let's talk about the knighthood. So the Vegas Golden Knights veterans, they started to sprinkle in this week. The rookies are arriving, the team preparing for season number 2. The rookies officially reported to camp today. And earlier in the week, the vets, I think there were more than 20 veterans who were out there. They had a little scrimmage trying to get themselves back into shape. I mean, it's been a short summer, but
yeah, I can't imagine they're too far out of shape. It's been 5 minutes since the season ended
yes,
for
but
these
a lot
guys.
of them, let's say, enjoyed
I would hope
that
so.
off season.
They deserved it.
I
mean,
check
if
out their
anybody
Instagram.
deserved an off season,
Yeah.
it was the Vegas Golden Knights.
So-
The storm that happened with this team from day one till the Stanley Cup final. I mean, enjoy the break, but time to get back to work.
Marc-Andre Fleury played in the scrimmage, went through drills. The veterans officially are going to be reporting next week, and the new rookie face-off gets underway this Saturday night. The sports in this city is just booming. There's something to do almost every day.
Yeah.
On weekends, I mean, it's just your pick of the litter and where you want to go, where you want to watch sports.
The next couple of Saturdays are insane. You can pretty much be
following week
any
is-
sports venue in the city for the next 2 weeks. You're gonna find something
Well,
to do.
the weekend of the 14th Mexican Independence Day weekend is absolutely off the charts. There's so much to do.
It's nuts.
I want to go to every event.
I don't
Can't.
think there's enough of you to do that.
The Colorado Avalanche will play in the first rookie game against the Golden Knights. That's Saturday night at 7 p.m. Now, the big news coming out of the Golden Knightdom, is that a term?
I don't think that's right.
Okay. So VGK will have to open its second campaign, just making words up,
was
without the
terrible.
services of Nate Schmidt. It's off the cuff.
Yeah.
Nate Schmidt, who has been hit with a 20-game suspension from the NFL, from the NHL,
Man, you're in football mode already, Tony.
for violating
it's football
the league's
season.
policies on performance-enhancing
6-3 at the half.
drugs. Take the under. So the crazy thing about this Schmidt story is that, okay, I could understand Schmidt saying that he disagreed with the NHL's decision, but, you know, so Schmidt said that he had tested for just a microscopic trace of a banned substance.
A pinch of salt in an Olympic-sized
7
pool, I believe, is how they describe
That's how
it.
they describe it. 7 billionths of a milligram
Of what? We don't know what yet.
of beer.
Of beer, yeah, it was beer.
He says he's very cautious in what he takes, and puts into his system. But then the Golden Knights came back, and you never see this. They say, we disagree strongly. No, we strongly disagree with this decision. I've never heard a team
Well,
go to bat in such a manner.
You had the team back him, and you had Schmidt say, "I've only taken things from the team," but then you had McPhee today in a press conference say, "We didn't give him this substance.
He said
this came from somewhere else."
He said that everything that they ingest, everything that goes into their bodies, is approved by the team.
Yeah. So
Right.
now you have suddenly the team maybe not backing him in the same way. I mean, it kind of sounds like McPhee saying, "No, Nate got this from somewhere else. He however it happened, it was somewhere else. It wasn't something that we gave him because we do our due diligence when it comes to giving our players whatever it is we give them."
Yeah, I
So
know.
it's
I
a very
heard the
muddy
same thing.
situation.
Yeah.
We still don't know what the substance is. I
But
think
I-
we need to figure that out first so that we can have a little more clarification.
Yeah, I can't recall a time where a team backed a player to that level, to that degree.
Well, I
never
think that
happens.
speaks a lot to Nate Schmidt's character.
Yeah.
We know what kind of guy he is. We've been in the locker room with him. He's such a fun guy. He's always smiling. He just loves playing hockey. And just on the surface does not seem like the kind of guy that would do anything like that. And again, we don't know what the substance was. Was it PEDs? Was it some kind of masking agent? We don't know because they haven't told us anything yet. As per normal NHL protocol, they don't really tell you anything ever. But it's not surprising that the team would back somebody like Schmidt. But again, today, a little backpedaling. So I think we need to figure out what the substance was and then go from there.
So more so, I guess, than before, they really need Shea Theodore to get into camp.
Man, Shea or Eric Carlson
yeah.
or Brandstrom and Haig. Can we bring the kids up? I mean,
They might have to.
they might have to trade them and bring Carlson in. I mean, who knows? But they've got to square away this roster defensively in a hurry. You have a month before the season opens up, and your youngest, maybe best defender, Shea Theodore, or one of your definitely your best offensive defender, isn't in camp yet, and your best graded defender, Nate Schmidt, is suspended for 20 games.
Let's talk about the chemistry, right? Because Derek England and Theodore on the ice together, that is the best combination they have right now. Right now. So they're going to need him to get into camp, one way or the other. Even if they make a trade later on, so be it, right?
I really hope that if they do make this trade, that there are more of the kids involved than Shea Theodore himself. Whether it's Brandstrom or Haig, Suzuki, whatever, because I think Shea Theodore is going to be a great defenseman in this league. I think you need to keep him on that team, and if you can bring Carlson in and add to Shea, that makes you a better team. Touché. Makes you a better team.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the chemistry. I talked to England about that a couple of weeks ago, and he thinks that they'll be okay. Just from what he's heard, he doesn't really know Stastny, but he thinks that, from everything he's heard, he's a good locker room guy.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing they really did not want to meddle into last year at the trade deadline.
Right. Well, they had such a great locker room, and it was a lot of the way these guys came together at the beginning of the season with the October 1st incident, just becoming a rallying point for this city, and then the instant success that they had, winning right off the bat, going 8-1 to start the season, and just keeping that up throughout the year. These guys really came together and became kind of the fabric of this city for an entire hockey season. No way you want to break that up. New season, some new faces, couple guys gone, but the core is still there largely. I mean, you still have Marchessault, and you still have England, and you still have Carlson. Those guys are still around. Schmidt's still there, even though 20-game suspension. You still have the core of this team around. So I think the guys that you bring in will be able to fit right into that.
Okay. The height meter's not so, it's rising. It's right there, 60%. It's not like where it was last year, right? Ticket sales. I keep going back to that.
Well, Tony, if you remember last year,
those individual game tickets last year were gone as soon as they put them up.
they also weren't $250 for upper deck. VGK, what are you doing?
Right.
You're gouging people. You're charging people for face value tickets what you see on secondary markets, and that's just getting greedy, in my opinion. I think they've drank a little bit of their own Kool-Aid, a little too much of their own Kool-Aid at this point. They need to go back to some more reasonable style prices. There's no reason in the world that a midweek game against some random Eastern Conference opponent should cost you $150 per ticket to sit upstairs. That's what the problem is. Not only that, it's year 2, so the whole newness, that shine, that's kind of gone. Yeah. We're right in the middle of the beginning of football season here. This is all the hype in the world is around football season. We're still a month away from these guys actually taking the ice. I think once they get on the ice, once you see those sweaters back out there in T-Mobile, you're going to see people really start to get back into it. But there's a little bit of a hangover from the Stanley Cup loss and football coming and all of that.
And we could sense it because we've been in the city for a long time. And then I'm just wondering what the tickets will be like for the rookie face-off. What that's going to be like, because they're very affordable tickets. Like at $40, I think it's a good value to go out there and you could watch a few games for $40.
I think you're still going to get a packed house at City National. I don't think you have to worry about that. And I don't think you have to worry about T-Mobile because they are going to sell these tickets. And we're going to see a lot of what we saw last year. It's still Las Vegas. Yeah, the newness of the whole thing is worn off. And the whole, oh my gosh, Vegas has a hockey team. Okay, we get it now. They went to the final. Everybody knows the deal. But it's still Vegas, and everybody wants to come to Vegas. If you're a team in Vancouver or Ottawa or wherever, and you look at the schedule and you go, I want to travel and see my team play somewhere, where do I want to go see my team play? Vegas is number 1 on that list. It's got to be Vegas, New York, maybe Nashville. I mean, those are places that you just want to go because of the environment, the atmosphere, the city itself, the nightlife. It's still going to draw tons of fans. You're still going to have sold-out T-Mobile.
Did you see today on social media, they were talking about, you're talking about ticket prices. The Rams, their tickets are going to be like $40 a game, the low end, and $1,000 PSL. That's unheard of. Like, I mean, that's tremendous.
This season or in the new stadium?
In the new stadium.
That's
That was
amazing.
released today.
I mean, that's...
So those seats that are
It's
in the boonies-
unfortunate that the Raiders didn't follow that model.
Yeah.
They should have gone more in that direction and had, I mean, we still haven't seen the final prices on the lowest possible prices for the season tickets. Right now the lowest PSL is at $3,900. We're expecting that to still drop because $3,900 is still 50-yard line seats in the upper deck.
Right.
Once you spread out and you get into those corners and the end zones, you assume those prices will come down even more. But $40, $1,000 PSL, I might have to get some Ram season tickets.
Right, exactly.
Just because.
Let's talk about the Aces because we haven't been on the air on this show for a couple of weeks. And then our radio show last week, the MAC news broke. And so we had to get like a hot newsmaker on, and we didn't. I'm sorry, Aces.
Yeah, I was supposed to come on last week and talk about UNLV football.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting in McCarran Airport,
Right.
getting ready to get on a plane,
And
and
what
all you
happened?
did was talk about MAC.
Yeah.
You didn't even want to talk about UNLV,
It's
man.
the hottest story.
I know, it was
Hottest story.
ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
So you were
Firestorm.
you were sort of bumped for a Chicago Tribune reporter. So
It's all right.
sorry, Matt.
I'll deal with it.
Deuces. Aces. Deuces. Aces. So how could this even be possible? You know, we haven't talked about this. The Aces had something like a 34% chance to win the WNBA draft lottery, and the luck of the Vegas
Frozen envelope?
was on
Paging
their
Patrick
side.
Ewing?
I mean, third consecutive.
You're a Knicks
time-
guy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, that was fixed. This
was
probably-
it?
Well, one of the players.
The frozen ping pong ball? What do
Yeah.
they do for the WNBA?
It was the envelope.
They draw out of, like, papers out of a hat? What do they do?
No. It was an envelope with about 10,000 from Jim Urine.
Yeah, there you go. Little manila envelope.
Right. So they get the top pick again in the WNBA draft. So dates back to San Antonio for fans that aren't familiar. A couple of years ago. So Kelsey Plum was the number 1 draft pick, and Asia Wilson was number 1. And Bill Lambier on national TV he's just awesome. He's the best. He just was saying that he feels that, you know, a lot of teams are going to come after the Aces and they're going to want to trade. So he's like, that could be a possibility. He was so excited. He was like a little kid. He was giddy. And then, you know, we know that they need that consistent third scoring option. So
They need size.
So if they're going to go big, they've got to go with Kalani Brown from Baylor. She's 6'7".
Okay.
That would be who I would earmark. Now, if they want scoring, which they might want to go with a little bit more, Nafessa Collier and Katie Lou Samuelson, both from Connecticut. So those would be my top picks. I had Asia Wilson pinned. I had it pegged. Like as soon as I had that one pegged.
Well,
that was easy.
I think
that was a
as the
no-brainer.
season goes on,
Yeah.
it'll become more clear which direction they're going to go based on how the college season is going.
They have
But-
3. Yeah, how about that? So they do the draft lottery now. Then you have an entire season to
Right.
assess the talent.
Right.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, that's
great.
That's nice. It's a nice way to go, right?
Well, Bill Lambier is going to take some nice trips.
I
He has
think
to go
I think they have.
scouting.
I think personally they have to go big because that's what
Yeah.
killed them
I
this season.
agree.
Because you give Kelsey Plum and Kayla McBride a full season in that system. They got the late start this year, coming from overseas. They weren't on the team at the beginning of the year. Get them integrated early on, along with Asia Wilson, and bring somebody with size in there that can handle the middle. I think that's what this team needs to really round it off, both offensively and defensively. They need somebody in the middle that can handle that.
Well, and we saw what Liz Cambage did to them.
Man,
You know, if Dallas in a must-win
they had no
game,
answer. They had no answer.
There was no answer.
Yeah.
And they did all they could, and they got, I think, 11 fouls on her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as much as they could, you know, rub off of her. Asia Wilson and Kelsey Plum, they played on separate teams in the USA basketball scrimmage on Wednesday night. But late last night, it was announced that both players will remain now on the 15-player roster. So they're going to play Canada exhibition game Saturday in Connecticut. And then hopefully both players can make the final USA World Cup team. The FIBA World Cup begins on September 22nd in Spain. So I'm guessing, they'll probably keep 12? They're at 15 now?
I have no
Maybe
idea what that
alternates? I
final
don't know how
number
that's
would
gonna
be.
be.
It'd be nice to see them both on there, or at least one of
They
them.
played on separate teams. That had to be a lot of fun.
I'm sure.
And then USA on the men's side against Uruguay. It's going to be mostly G League players. That's coming up next Friday night, the 14th, over at the Cox Pavilion. On the way out, we've got a couple of things. The Viva Lights.
Uh-oh.
The Lights return home to
Are you
play
ready?
the LA Galaxy 2 on Saturday night.
They're doing the
Kickoff
test
time
tomorrow.
at 8 p.m. Yep, Saturday's the $5,000
Helicopter.
helicopter drop. Friday night, the Lights are going to be entertaining the media between 5 and 6 p.m. to kind of give all of us, well, I'm an alleged media member, maybe you, and other media members, they're going to give them the opportunity to see how this is all going to work. They are going to position people
Come on, poker
the
chips.
field. You have to stay.
I want to see poker chips.
You have to stay in a certain area if you're selected. Go out on the field, and then the money's supposed to blow down on you. We're going to go. We have our nets ready. We'll be outside of Cashman Field, and hopefully it's a very
The
windy
long
night.
fishing nets.
Yeah. It's going to be a very windy night at Cashman.
That's going to be, man, get your cameras out. That's
It's going to be fun, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no injuries and everything is cool there.
Catch that money.
The Lights also announced today season ticket prices are going to remain the same
Yep.
for the next season. So no increase in ticket prices for the year 2019. That's terrific.
And I think it'll be a more fan-friendly environment out there next season because they're going to do some renovations to Cashman Field with the 51s having played their last game there, which, by the way, man, I got choked up at that game.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
I took pictures of our seats, and my whole family was there, my nephews, my kids, my wife, my dad, my sister. We were sitting in those seats for 36 seasons. I got choked up at this damn game. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much it was going to hit me till I was physically there sitting in those seats for the final time. Yeah. But
and the
51s are gone, and the walk-off home run. Are you kidding me?
By Alonso.
That's how you finish it off, right? It's such a Vegas thing. But with the 51s moving to downtown Summerlin, you're going to see the stands hook around that right field side now. So you get the nice horseshoe for soccer. So you have stands all the way around. I believe they're going to take the upper level of fencing off in the outfield so that you'll have the berm area out there. So maybe you get a few fans sitting out there again like they had back in 1983.
Yeah, there's not going to be any renovations to Cashman Field because the 51s will be back at Cashman Field.
No, that's not going to happen, Tony. They've already got steel coming out of the ground in downtown Summerlin.
I still say, man, I'm pretty good at this now.
Look,
I still don't think that
the
it will
Pacific
be open.
Coast League is going to make sure that the 51s have a 2-week road trip to start the season.
Okay.
All right. That gives them a little extra time.
All right.
To put the finishing touches on the ballpark, get
All
the
right.
mound right.
So you are going to say you are going to agree that they're going to run up against the time here.
No, they're going to start the season at the new ballpark. But teams
Major
start on the
League
road all the time.
Well, I said Major League Weekend. I really do feel it will be a Cashman Field. I'm still going to stick with that prediction. And I'm going to
we'll
say
see about that.
They might not start their season over in the new Summerlin ballpark.
No,
They
I
might
think they'll
not.
be ready to go.
I think there's some concern.
Now, just because the stands are ready to go
And this is my prediction.
and
how
the
long
diamond
ago?
is ready to go doesn't mean concessions and bathrooms are going to be ready to go. You might have to run across the street to Red Rock to get something to eat or use the restroom. But I think they'll be ready to play ball.
Okay. So
My
that's
prediction.
All right. But my prediction.
Sticking to it, Tony.
So my prediction came that's going on the board.
We'll write it
gotta go on
down.
the board.
Saturday morning, we're writing it down.
We got to put that.
We're
on
writing
the board.
everything
Cashman
down.
Field will not be ready to play for the start of the 2019 season for the Vegas Aviators.
Cashman Field?
The new Summerlin Park.
Las Vegas Ballpark.
Yes, they paid a lot of money.
Las Vegas Ballpark. Simple.
Raiders Stadium.
Simple.
Raiders
Las
Stadium.
Vegas Ballpark. I don't even know what that thing's going to be called.
So yeah.
The International Bank of who knows what stadium.
Coming up once again on our Saturday show right there on CBS Sports Radio, 11:40 a.m. We have Larry Brown. He'll be joining us. Nate Jacobson, who is the right tackle for UNLV football. We might have another guest. Still waiting confirmations. And we hope to be hearing from you. We'll give away a pair of tickets on that show for
NASCAR tickets.
Yep, for the Cup Series.
Playoff time for NASCAR.
Yep, it's
coming
going
up.
to be on the 16th of September. That's going to be a wild weekend. Next Thursday night, we'll be previewing the entire weekend, and there's so much to dissect with the fight in town. We've got NASCAR, we've got Rebel football, we've got USA basketball. There's so much going on. All happening.
wait, man.
Next weekend. We'd like to thank our sponsors once again. the Pint on Charleston and Wallapai. Stop by there and tell them that the Sports Adrenaline crew sent you. And then Michael Westra, Allstate Insurance, 702-435-4211. For Richard Giacovino, our producer, we'd like to thank Haley Brooks for her video.
Watching your Eagles. 3 points into the third quarter. Well done, Haley. Glad you missed for that.
For John Castanino, who has the night off, he'll be back on Saturday with all of us hooligans. Matt Gutierrez, I'm Tony Cardasco. Good night from Las Vegas. You've been watching the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show.
In life, just like in football, you need good hands to score. The Michael Westra Allstate Agency will carry you to success for every insurance need. Auto, business, home, life. Michael will personally see you get the best rates, and our full-service staff at 702-435-4211 will walk you through any claim, not refer you to an 800 number. For over 15 years, Michael has served charities in Las Vegas. He's ready to serve you at 702-435-4211, 702-435-4211. Drink, dine, and play at the Pint during the pro football season. Join us all day Sunday, plus Monday and Thursday nights as we serve up the best specials on the west side. $2 all-beef hot dogs, $3 beers from locally made Bad Beat Brewing, $15 buckets of Bud Light, and sound for every Raider game. Our carefully crafted menu and loose slots create a locals atmosphere you'll love, plus awesome parties during every Golden Knights game. The Pint, located at 9941 West Charleston near Wallapai. The Pint, your premier neighborhood bar.